Okay, and we're back here live at T3 in Las Vegas. And as I've been saying all day, the thing I love most about doing these broadcasts live at these conferences is the caliber of people we're able to get all throughout the day. And this is no exception. We have Kunal Kapoor, who is the CEO of Morningstar, joining us right now. Thanks for joining us, Kunal.
Thanks for having me. It's a real honor.
Oh, absolutely. So there's a lot I do want to talk to you about. We only have about 10 minutes. And I know that you are going to be doing the keynote talk today.
Yep.
And one of the things I believe you're going to be covering is AI. Is that correct?
Indeed, yeah.
Okay. So here's my question. We're hearing a lot about AI for everything.
Yeah.
How do we go from conceptual to what, because I'm also an advisor, right? I run a book of business. How is AI going to help me run my business more specifically?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And, first of all, I just start by saying it is real, but there's a lot of hype surrounding it.
Okay.
So I really do believe it is going to be a meaningful change in that, there are many friction points advisors face in their day-to-day. And one of the things that we all aspire to is to make sure advisors can spend time on activities that yield the most value, as opposed to things that perhaps are distracting. And so I think it's real because it's going to take that friction away. And I think it's important to talk about it sometimes in the context of basic tasks, because I do think sometimes the hype kind of gets away from the real basic use cases, which is how you and I would look to deploy them. And I think it's probably, if you're an advisor, it will enable you to be more efficient, more timely, and I think over time, depending on how data is shared and used in the context of AI, which is, by the way, a very important thing from a security perspective, it can lead, I think, to really better outcomes for your client, which is what it's all about.
Okay. Can you give me a use case? Like, for example, at Morningstar, how will you guys be incorporating AI to make my life better as an advisor?
Yeah, super easy example. We, last April, launched Mo. So Mo is our avatar, and we've basically fed him all of Morningstar's research and data, going back forever.
Okay.
And we've constrained him where he can't leave our environment. So you can walk up to Mo and ask him any question about anything related to anything Morningstar's covered. So for example, if you were to say, what is the best investment to make in inflationary times, he would scan very quickly in 20 seconds and come back, not even 20 seconds, in a heartbeat, come back and tell you what it is, because he's read every article. If you and I are doing that, you're the advisor, you're typing it in, and it takes a moment. Or I think about our interfaces. Today, if you want to go search to invest in something, you got to click here, click there, put your criteria in. Suddenly imagine like you just say what you need, and boom, you get the answer.
Okay.
Or if you're thinking about a client's book, let's say you put clients in NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has been obviously a good performer, and now you're like, okay, I want to make sure that clients have the right level of exposure, and maybe I need to take some profits, for example, because Morningstar is saying it's more fairly valued than it was. You'd have to go previously and try to figure that out. You can just basically tell Mo, theoretically, that go find my clients who have NVIDIA. Now, this is important because what you can't do is you can't say, hey, I'm in Vegas, Mo. What's the nicest restaurant I can go to around here?
Yeah.
Because Mo will not tell you that. And that's the beauty of having him in a secure environment. One of the other cool things we've done, I know I'm going on here, but
no, please.
It's kind of exciting. One of the other cool things we've done is we've actually loaded Mo into our advisor workstation desktop, and you don't see the avatar there, but it's just basically a text box that you type in and get answers from, and it's really meant to be more of a service use case. But what is interesting, and this is fascinating to me, is we found that when we have the avatar present, advisors and individuals tend to ask way more personal questions versus when it's just a text box, when it's very transactional. Help me find this, help me do this. Kind of makes sense, and I think it's important because it portends what could happen in the future, where today we all kind of like, we don't want to interact with a robot or whatever. My hunch is we're getting pretty comfortable asking AI, and if we put a face on it, even more so. And so I think it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah. you've got me thinking. I'm curious on what kind of personal questions advisors might be asking Mo. Do you have any funny stories on that?
Well, it's more about in my portfolio, how can I do this?
Yeah.
As opposed to a generic, I'd like to look at the universe and try to find X or
Got it.
That kind of thing.
So it really kind of helps you sort through the volumes of data that you guys have
Exactly.
accumulated over the years.
Exactly.
Wow, that's
Exactly.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, let's pivot a little bit. So we're all about going RIA. So our audience are advisors that are right now at a wirehouse, at some broker-dealer, and they've been hearing so much about the RIA space. I'm a huge fan of the RIA space, and they're looking to make that leap forward. And we're here at T3, right? So we're talking about technology all day long. And I think a big topic when these advisors are looking to put together their tech stock, I think part of that decision tree is, do I want an all-in-one solution or do I want to pick and choose? Can you share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe take a slightly contrarian position here.
Okay.
I think all-in-one is terrific. I also think it really doesn't exist. And I've been working with advisors for 25 plus years now, and we've been talking about an all-in solution for a long time. Now, the reality is you can do a lot in certain systems. But I think because technology is always changing, things keep popping up, it's inevitable that things come in that are interesting. And what I think is compelling is you can have a system that does a lot, and then you have integrations increasingly. And I think the integrations have changed. So at Morningstar, historically, we had fewer integrations because we kind of found that advisors did a lot of the activities they wanted on our platform or kind of went off. And so we've added more, but we still always find that X advisor wants the next thing that they discover. And so integrations are increasingly important. And
Yeah.
I think what's interesting is the technology has come along where the integrations are more seamless. So I think what needs to happen and what is happening is firms who work with RIAs need to do a better job of enabling that interaction. And I think that's how you get closer and closer to an all-in-one solution. At least that's our bet, is we build out a core set of capabilities and then we integrate where we think there are others with more focus on certain things that perhaps we're not focused on ourselves.
So perhaps more of a most-in-one, if not an all-in-one.
It is, and I mean, one of the other things I've noticed over time too is RIAs and advisors in general like to hedge their bets. I mean, this is an industry that has had no shortage of M&A and whatnot, and when that happens, you feel a little bit like, is my partner the right one or not? And I've talked to many advisors over time, and one of the reasons they don't concentrate is because they want to spread their bets. And I understand that. I never
Sure.
used to, but I've kind of come to appreciate why people want to do that. They're all small business owners, and they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket because history has shown that there's some risk to doing that.
There definitely is. And speaking as an advisor myself, I do like that ability to have that integration. And so, for example, if we bring on another advisor that's been using XYZ systems forever, that advisor doesn't want to change.
That's
And if we can help that advisor plug into our systems with good, tight integrations, that makes my job a lot easier.
Exactly. And for us, the other thing that it's meant is we've tried to make our data available everywhere. And so for us, that's the red thread that kind of runs through all of what we do, is we want to make sure, regardless of where an advisor is, whatever system they're using, they have access to Morningstar's data and research, and they have easy access to it regardless of where they are.
All right, sounds good. I know you're going to be doing the keynote momentarily. I think I have you for just another minute or two. But in those couple of minutes, can you give us some forward-looking thoughts? What can we look forward to broadly in technology and fintech, and even specifically from Morningstar in the next 12 to 18 months?
I think the most important thing is personalization, right? And so I talk to many advisors, and they'll say, index funds and indexing was good for my clients from an expense perspective, but it's led to lower engagement. And I understand that. I think it's a good outcome, but it's harder to engage someone. And so personalization is a way advisors will be able to engage like never before. And the technology to do that did not exist at scale. And it's starting to, and whether it's direct indexing or some other type of technology, the ability of an advisor to do that and do it at scale without necessarily having to put a ton of hours into it is real. And this is also where you have the intersection of AI and data and the capacity to pull in, householding of accounts and whatnot. And so I think that is really exciting because it's no more about, you have to have massive amounts of money to get special treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think alternatives are obviously something that are being talked about and looked at. I would say buyer beware. in general on that front. The siren song of alternatives has existed for a long time. They tend to overpromise and underdeliver based on our data, and so I think the solutions will keep getting better, but I remain skeptical that they are ready for mass adoption.
All right, that's a great point. I love that analogy, or that, I think it's a metaphor, perhaps, the siren sounds of alternatives. That's a pretty good way to sum that up. Kunal, Kapoor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you bet. And for those of you in the audience, stay tuned. We have 3 more coming up later today. And on behalf of goRIA, fueled by Investment News, I'm Chuck Vela, and we'll see you in about another 25, 30 minutes. Thanks.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
All right.